Drowning in Sand, Chapter 1, The Convalescence by the Sea, Part 5. When the doctor is done, there is a puddle of poodle blood on the floor, a smell of cauterized flesh, and burnt, hot pink fur. The wail of a woman is still in the tub asleep, larger yet, and the dog is passed out from pain and from pills. The doctor sits on the floor and takes 2 more pills out from his pocket and tosses them into his mouth, swallowing one reflexively and crushing the other with his filling dotted molars. The sound makes Map flinch, and he moves the wrong way, and he upsets a nerve wrong, and then all of a sudden he's shot by Satan in the spine. He wishes he had some more of those pills that the doctor has in his bag. But it passes in a moment. The pain, like 2 kicks in each gonad, a kick in the chest all at once. It floods over him, kicks him in the butt, and then stops just as quickly. The doctor sits on the floor and picks up pieces of dog flesh and fur and gets his stout body back up and walks over to the sliding glass door, opens it, tosses the bits of poodle out over the deck towards the trashed shore and says, "Those nasty gulls will love this." And then the wind carries in the smell of the shore, of the pollution, of the trash, and the gusts of wind bring the burning plastic and burning rubber and burning hair smell from the ship. There's just ghosts floating out there, burning in the wind, and the doctor says, there she is. And then he closes the door a little, gags, and looks over a map and says, "Nothing like convalescing by the sea now, is there?" And he smiles a fake smile, and Miss Nevershe gains 6 pounds. Map smiles nervously and looks back over towards the med TV, where the breast enlargement is still going on. And he picks up a spoon with hardened and sandy applesauce on it. He picks up the spoon from the table and he throws it against the wall. And there's a damp cough, and the channel changes, and the cough continues for a second, and then stops. "Well said, Map, well said." "Huh, doctor? Was that absolutely necessary?" "Well, you saw how that leg was being strangled per se in that tub of blubber, huh? No, that leg would have been no good to her, to that dog after that. It was already dead. Circulation, or rather, the lack thereof. You know." "Oh, okay. But, as you ask, was there something else that could be done?" "Oh, I don't know, maybe, but this got the job done." "The dog has 1 less leg now, doctor." "Oh, that would have happened anyway, if not 5 minutes ago, sometime in the future. And in the near future, look at that thing. It's like a ye old colonial bitch, huh? Well, can't look back now, can we?" "No, doctor, can't go back now." "It just seems like maybe there was something else we could have done, doctor." "Well, don't you worry, Map. We're here to help. We know what's best. We know what's best for you, for all of you. We're here to help. Don't worry. Don't worry." The pink poodle opens her bloodshot eyes and looks over at the doctor and at Map in his wheelchair, and then at her slumbering owner, and then to where her left leg used to be, and then again she shouts, "Arp, arf," and the dog stands up, drugged and dazed, and looks back at her master, and then jumps out onto the floor, "Arf," and then, after looking at Dr. DeGooge and Map, she lets out one last "Arf," and then the dog chokes for a second, closes her eyes, and the 3-legged pastel pink pooch rapidly and violently expands to 3 times her previous size. Stunned, the double decades-old dog is silent. Dr. DeGooge looks from the dog to Map and then asks, "You see that too, right?" Map nods his head yes. The doctor shoves his fingers into his dreadlocked beard and says, "You and I are gonna need some more medicine. Soon. Now, actually." The prissy pink furry balloon wallows on the floor, rolls herself around for a minute before she gets upright, walks over to the windows, looks out and barks, no doubt at one of those mad gulls, and she starts walking in circles, seemingly somewhat comfortable, seemingly somewhat confused. Map watches her from his wheelchair. The dreadlocked doctor turns and watches a spinal operation on the med TV. No one hears any coughs from the other side of the wall, but Tanya's thin voice comes through her wall. How is she? Who? Pistachio. Map hesitates. Fine, but different. And how about the other one? Who? Miss Nevershe. Miss Nevershe? Miss Nevershe. Map looks over at the doctor, who's still entranced with the blood and the tubes on the television. Map looks over at the lady asleep in the tub, gaining ounces with every snore, and then coughs, and there's a reply cough from behind the wall, and he says, different, but fine. The sky outside is getting lighter, and the wind is howling and throwing sand against the house, chipping away what was left of the exterior paint. Map gets a random shock of pain down his leg, and his eyes get watery. The television channel changes. A close-up of vaginal thrust fills the screen. Map looks away. The doctor looks closer. Through the walls, Tanya says, well, good night then. Map says, good night, Tanya. Good night, Ehab, she says from her room to his. There is a cough in reply. The channel changes again to a burn victim being rehabilitated. The doctor, sitting on the sofa among piles of sand and fidgeting with his beard's dreadlocks, peers down to the table in front of him and says aloud towards Map, there seems to be a tooth here on this table. Map keeps his eyes on the now sleeping pink fur and says back to the doctor, that's Tanya's. Maybe I should look at her too. She doesn't seem to mind. The doctor is silent. The medical TV stays on the same channel. No one coughs. The woman in the tub snores. The dog sneezes and appears to lose a little weight, a few pounds maybe. Doc, don't get pissed. The dog coughs again and quickly loses 5 pounds. Meanwhile, her slumbering mermaid of a master in the tub takes in a cooler-sized gulp of air and gains 10 pounds. The seams of the tub are starting to stress. Folds of flesh are escaping. Okay. The sky out the window is a private's part pink, except for the plume of dark filth ruining the sky above the simmering ship out there. And the wind howls, and the waves get bigger, and dead Christmas trees last 4 years and are the most beautiful thing on the nasty shore. The dog gets smaller. The pounds seem to be jumping from the dog to her master. The dog gets up, seemingly fine except for missing her rear left leg, and she hobbles over to Map, who sits in his chair watching the pre-dawn sky being desecrated by the sour sight of the ship. And he scowls a little when the dog licks his hand and then smiles and says, oh, okay. And he pets the disturbingly pink poodle, who is now back to her normal size, give or take a leg. The doctor gets tired of themed television, and he stands and maneuvers his barrel-like body over toward the transplanted tub in the middle of the room, and he stares at the flesh of Miss Nevershe, and she burps in her exhausted sleep, but she doesn't lose a pound, quite the contrary actually, and he watches another olive-sized droplet of silver-gray water slowly climb down the massive body between the stained beach towels, and the droplet slides its way down into the reservoir of stale dirt and sweat in the stressed tub. And the doctor turns away.